Welcome to the College Basketball Net Profit Show, Monday, January 30th. Ian Cameron and Conor Mack with you, ready to break down another college basketball card. A Monday card means a light card. We've got 6 games that we'll go through in the marquee games. Then we'll do added board Q&A and any opinions from that part of the card, and that's it. It'll be a very quick show. So we'll begin in the ACC with one of the big matchups of the night, Virginia and Syracuse. Virginia, 5-point road favorites, 132.5 the total here in this one. You look at the Syracuse, cashed another ticket, Conor, with over the total with Syracuse on Saturday against Virginia Tech. I mean, just another easy one. I'm back to the well here with another over with Syracuse. Now, the one concern you'd always have in the back of your head is, okay, you're playing Virginia, you're playing the slowdown team, this half-court team, this very solid defensive team. All of that is true. But I don't think you want to leave out of the equation the fact Virginia offensively is playing very well right now, shooting the ball better than maybe they have in the past. Kihei Clark is running the point guard spot at a very high level right now for this team. He's dishing it out. Their other scores are getting the job done for now. It's Swiss cheese zone defense that we've seen repeatedly from this Syracuse team. So to me, this total looks light, considering Virginia's improved offensively. You know, considering that Syracuse just gives it up time and time and time again. I did have a small bet on Syracuse as well. I just don't think it's a great spot for Virginia. You're going on the road, short travel, Saturday to Monday turnaround, playing Syracuse, laying points on the road where they've been hit or miss. And a lot of Virginia's wins on the road have been close. You know, they haven't been winning a ton of games by margin away from home. So, and the one thing you can say about Syracuse is, you know, the North Carolina game, Miami game, they've had some instances where they've been real close even on their home floor. So I do like the Cuse a little bit. Again, I'm keeping it small because I just don't love their defense or trust them on that end of the floor. But I have a small bet on Syracuse, but a bigger bet on the over. I think the over is the best look here. 132.5. 5 straight overs head-to-head between Virginia and Syracuse as well. All of them getting into the high 130s or 140s as well. So to me, I have no issue going over this total. What do you think here, Conor?
Yeah, touch the total. I mean, how can you not? I mean, everything's over for both teams. So I don't blame you there. I like Syracuse though. I'll stick to the side. I'll take them here at home. Man, I was really hoping for that 6 or 7, but I think at 5 they hang around here. I just don't want them on the road, and that was good. You faded them. You took Virginia Tech, right? On Saturday, I was hesitant.
Small bet.
Yeah, I got over there too. Yeah, I had some on the over, but I want them back here at home. I mean, obviously they just played North Carolina 72-68, like you mentioned, the short couple days. I need the Cuse to come through and hit those threes, and I think they can be in it.
All right, next up, we've got Chicago State and the Citadel. The Citadel, 3-point home favorites, 139 the total in this game. Chicago State's been a nice little not a nice little. They've been a very nice bet to me all season long. They've been undervalued. You know, now they're starting to adjust. I mean, they're only getting 3.5 here. So you're now in a position where if you like Chicago State, and I still went ahead and took the points with Chicago State here, the Cougars. But now you're getting into a point where you're asking this team, which has one measly road win on the year, 1-17 straight up on the road, to go and win the game. That is a little, more concerning that they're not getting more points than normal, but you can't argue with the results. They're 5-2 ATS in their last 7 line games. The loss at 3 to Rio Grande Valley, 85-82, 72-65 loss to Stanford. They've suddenly actually started an upward trend in terms of totals over the total. So this is another game where I might have a small lean to the over, but unlike the last game, I like the over more than the side. This one, I like the side more than the over. And that side is Chicago State here, plus the points. Let's keep in mind, Citadel on their home floor just lost to Mercer. They were pick 'em against East Tennessee State. They lost by 18. They were 4-point home dogs against Stanford. They lost by 12. This is a Citadel Bulldogs team that, at the defensive end of the floor is not great, and they're worse offensively. The one thing we've seen from Citadel is get up and down the floor, shoot a bunch of threes, and score a bunch of points, and they've totally fallen off from being that team this year, just averaging a paltry 69.3 points per game. And say what you will about Chicago State, they have improved at least a little bit defensively to the point where they've been competitive. Again, this road underdog role for Chicago State has been just money in the bank for them. Again, you're not getting the numbers you did maybe in some of these recent games, but I'm still on them regardless. They've been too good to me. Chicago State plus the points. What do you think here, Conor?
Yeah, every year, there's just fewer of these teams that we get, and this year Chicago State's been one of them. But it just feels, yeah, a few weeks ago this would have been a little bit more. And last night though at 2, I was like, wow, 2. I didn't know if it moved to 3, 3.5. Now basically all 3 everywhere. Citadel to me isn't the scoring team of the past. They mentioned they've been under City for this team, especially lately. And I think this total's too high. I get Chicago State scored a little bit more as of late, but I think at 140 that's too high, this total. So I like the under in this one. I don't know if I get there with Chicago State. Maybe I'll have something small on it. God damn, this team covers, and I don't want to trust any of my money with Citadel. So I guess on the side, I'd lean Chicago State.
Yeah, the travel is tricky, Jefferson. I will admit. Chicago flew from Myrtle Beach for exactly. Then out to Stanford, Palo Alto, West Coast, Citadel. Yeah, I do worry that could catch up to them. They're a little sluggish tonight. But again, if we lose one, so be it. Yeah, under, definitely. South Dakota, Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts, 15-point home favorites, 152 being the total in this game. Oral Roberts, we know at home they've been a machine, 13 wins, undefeated on their home floor. But they do have to win this game by a big margin. And last home game against Omaha, they were laying 20 and they didn't cover. They only won by 9. And look on the road, what we've seen out of South Dakota. South Dakota, a great team, no, but they have started to play a little bit better. They've won 2 of their last 3. And all of them competitive. Western Illinois on the road is 4-point dogs. They lost by 3. They covered the number. At St. Thomas, the Tommies in their last game, 6.5-point dogs, very impressive, 81-67, double-digit win as underdogs for this South Dakota team. So they're definitely starting to play a little bit better in terms of basketball. And the one thing you want to keep in mind here is this team is excellent 3-point shooting team. And that's the one little fly in the ointment for Oral Roberts is their 3-point defense is a little lackluster. So you got a good 3-point shooting team of South Dakota. You've got Oral Roberts struggles to defend the 3. I think this is a good over and underdog spot, in my opinion. I like the points here with South Dakota. They're starting to cover some numbers. They're an undervalued commodity, and you could argue Oral Roberts is an overvalued commodity. 20-point favorites last game at home against Omaha. Didn't even sniff a point spread cover. So I like South Dakota plus the points here, 15. It was up to 16.5. So the money's come in on them, but I still like it at 15. And I could only look over the total here at 152.5. Conor, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think the total, I think we can get over. I think, I just think it gets there. Oral Roberts, we know them playing good basketball. This team just keeps winning. We keeps winning games. These teams get together, though. I like how South Dakota plays, though. I think they could score a little bit. So I think they can stay within the number. You mentioned the shots. I think they could hit some threes and keep this close. And we're seeing a stretch out over Oral Roberts, and yeah, they've covered. But I think this is getting out here now, where they're laying some big numbers, and with a defense like that, that has been a bit better of late. I don't want to lay it with them, so I do like the points here.
All right, we move along now. South Dakota State, the other South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, UMKC, the Kangaroos. You've got UMKC 2-point home favorites, 129.5 the total in this game. This has just not been anywhere close to the level that we have expected over the years from South Dakota State. They actually did look like they were turning things around. Actually, in conference play, they had been going pretty well, and now they've lost their last 2. St. Thomas and Western Illinois as favorites, losing outright both games, and both on the road, and actually going on the road again here for a 3rd straight road game in conference, which does not happen very often, that a team is scheduled for 3 straight road games. I think if you're a situational handicapper here, you've got to be all over UMKC. And we have seen UMKC take the money, pick them up to -2. I think that's probably the right call here. I think they can get the job done. When you look at South Dakota State, they're not the same offensive team. Defensively, their numbers have slipped. UMKC is a very good defensive team, 29th in the country in field goal percentage defense, which is definitely good to see. The really only advantage and by the way, big rebounding advantage as well for UMKC. They have a big size advantage in the paint, rebounding numbers. They could really get a lot of rebounding advantages at both ends of the floor tonight over South Dakota State. The only advantage South Dakota State has is they're an elite free throw shooting team, 80% fourth in the country, but KC is no slouch. I mean, 71% from the free throw line. That's still pretty decent in their own right. I think they get the job done here. UMKC is -2. If I would take money line personally, as I always say with the 2-point home favorites, I just go money line, which is around -130 in this game. I like the home favorite here, though. What do you think, Connor?
Yes, South Dakota State just hasn't been right all year long. Seems like injuries. They look a little better, and they just get blown out again. Not very good defensively. I want the better team. I lay the 2 with the Roos here. I think they're better defensively. Been playing better basketball as of late too, and at home, short number. You could go money line like you mentioned, but I think they take care of business here at home.
All right, good stuff. Hit the like button. 110 live viewers. We appreciate it very much. We move on to Baylor and Texas, one of the 2 television games on ESPN on a Monday night here. Texas rather, 3.5, 4-point home favorites. 147 is the total in this game. Baylor, for me, once again, here in this game, I'm all about Baylor right now. They have been on a roll. They've won 6 straight. They've covered 5 of those 6 games. The only one they didn't was the last game against Arkansas. They were 6.5-point home favorites. They won by 3 in that game. But Baylor's a go-with team, bet on, buy team right now for me. They are playing their best basketball of the season by far. That's for sure. And it is definitely great to see that, no question. And you look at the Texas side of the equation, disappointing setback against Tennessee, 82-71. I mean, they fell apart defensively on that game Saturday afternoon in Knoxville against the Volunteers. And really, to be honest with you, their defense 3 of the last 4 games hasn't been really that good. Even the win against Oklahoma State, they gave up 26-61 shooting. Iowa State sliced and diced them when they lost on the road, 78-67. The home track record's been okay here in Austin. There's no question. They had to win against TCU, a win against Texas Tech, win against Oklahoma State on their home floor. They also did get buried by Kansas State at home and gave up 116. But, I think Baylor, if you look at it here, they're just, they're undervalued after not bad start, but an underwhelming start, a sluggish start based on the standards that are set for this Baylor team. And I think plus the points is the only way I'd be betting this game from a side perspective. Connor, what do you think here, Bears, Longhorns?
Texas defense, it seems like comes and goes. I don't know this year. You mentioned getting sliced and diced. They come back and they just look horrible. Watching them has not been fun. I don't want them back at home. I don't want Texas. And Baylor's just owned them. I just can't get over that. And now they're healthy. Baylor was down at halftime. I lost it, but I jumped on them live, and they pulled it out. I like them here too. I think take the 4 points. They're coming together. I like how the guard play looks with everyone healthy, Cryer, everything. So give me Baylor.
All right, we're in agreement there. Connor and I liking Baylor here, plus the points. All right, the other game in the Big 12 at that same 9:00 p.m. start time, Iowa State and Texas Tech. We've got Texas. Oh, interesting. Texas Tech's now favored. 1.5-point home favorites. 127.5 the total in this game. I like the way it's moving because it's moving in my direction. Or I shouldn't say that. It's moving. Like if you're going to bet it now, you're not getting as well. But I initially bet Texas Tech plus 1.5 in this game, and now it is they're favored in this game. I'm going to look. Is LSU a horrible team? Yes, but I cashed a ticket with the best bet on the Pub Hub on Saturday with Texas Tech against LSU. I said this is the spot to finally get off the schneid, get off the losing streak, get back in the win column. They did so against LSU, and they were leading that game start to finish. Essentially, it was a better performance. Keep in mind, there's still some talent on this Red Raiders team. I know they've had a tough season. They've lost a lot of close games. Remember, this is not like this team is getting blown out repeatedly in Big 12 play. They lost in overtime to Oklahoma. They lost by 6 to TCU. They lost by 3 to Kansas, by 2 at Texas, by 7 to Baylor. They have lost a lot of close games. They've been right there and had an opportunity to win and just couldn't get the job sealed, the door slammed shut. And look, they've had a ton of injuries as well. Keep that in mind. And, they didn't have Pop Isaacs or Fardaws Amok on Saturday, and both of those guys questionable. But the good news is The Oral Roberts transfer. We talked about Oral Bob earlier on this card, and the big transfer from there. Kevin O'Banner had one of his best games at a banner day, if no pun intended, for Texas Tech against LSU. He had an O'Banner day, I guess you could say. Davion Harmon, also, man, some of these jokes of mine are sick, I will admit. But yeah, Davion Harmon, he played well for Texas Tech, no question. It was one of their better defensive efforts in quite some time. Now, that was LSU, a horrible team. Iowa State is going to be tougher, but Iowa State has to go on the road after being at Missouri. It's back-to-back on the road, 2 games and 3 days on the road. Texas Tech, I think, is due for a home win. They've had some tough setbacks here at home. I think there's finally a little bit extra pep in their step and confidence as well from finally getting a win on Saturday. So I like the situationals for the Red Raiders tonight. I took them at +1.5. They've now become favorites, but I would still take them on the money line here. What do you think here, Conor? Iowa State, Texas Tech.
Yeah, with those guys, I think O'Banner and Walton would have to have huge games again. Even Harmon, he had a decent game with 14. You know what's been crazy in this series too have just been blowouts. These games have just been there hasn't been too many close ones the last few years. It is a rough spot, and everyone sees that. That's so this line's flipped, obviously. Tough. Iowa State though still has the better defense, but I mean that second half after a pretty good first half, they just got ripped.
Yep.
There. So maybe take that live. You think they can hang in? One thing, Texas Tech, I haven't been enamored with their shooting, and even at home, they still haven't won a home game here in a long time. So tough one for me. Even though I agree everything you were talking about, I don't know if I get to this game at all tonight.
No, that's fair. This is no slam dunk. This is no lock, stock, and barrel here for Texas Tech. And you're right. The home struggles are real, but they lost in embarrassing fashion to Iowa State at the Hilton Coliseum. Hilton Magic, was all over Texas Tech. And I took Iowa State in that first meeting, January the 10th, 20 days ago, 84-50 for Iowa State in that game. They won by 34. I mean, not only is that a revenge spot, it's a meaningful revenge spot. You lose that badly, to one team. You want to earn some payback. And
they need a good home win. They just need a fucking good home win here.
They do, and I think they'll get it. I think this is their night to get. Keep in mind, too, against Iowa State, when they've been the host, 72-52, 81-54, 72-60, 72-40. I mean, there's been some beatdowns by Texas Tech when they've hosted Iowa State here the last few years. So I think it sets up well. So we'll see.
Sorry for my cussing. I had to say we have to watch our language coming up here because of good old YouTube.
Oh, yeah? Are they cracking down on that?
Yeah. So
really, huh?
Not that a few more days. I think it's going in effect.
Oh,
but
goodness. Yeah. All right. Well,
sorry for the F-bomb.
As well. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have to apparently go PG or something. Oh my gosh. Well, have to keep that in mind. But that does suck. I mean, it's supposed to be, free speech and say what you want, do what you want, but it doesn't always work that way. But yeah, I like Texas Tech. I think they'll find a way, get the victory, and finally get a win on their home floor. All right, that's the main card. That's the main board. For this Monday slate, we have Q&A, we have the added board, the extra games. Conor, we'll start with you. The extra board, the added board, anything you like.
Yeah, I was looking at this Delaware Coppin. I was looking at the under. It's come down, though, already a couple points in that one. Also, I was looking at Alcorn State a little bit. I doubt I'd get there. And I believe that was it. Those were the only two I kind of looked at here on this short card.
All right, I'll just rhyme them off. I'm on Loyola, Maryland. Too many points for Colgate. I like Colgate, but I think that's a few too many there. I like +17 with Loyola, Maryland. The Greyhounds, I like the over there, 137 as well. NC Central plus the points. I'm kind of with you on Alcorn State, +5. I think that's certainly take the dog before I lay the points in that one. I'm on Morgan State as a slight home dog in the over as well against Maryland Eastern Shore. We're on Alabama State, Florida A&M over the total as well. I did lean Jackson State a little bit too against the Southern Tigers. +9 in that game.
South Carolina State can keep it close with Howard. I don't know.
The over a little bit more in that game than
it's dropped.
It's dropped. Yeah. It has. But I think it's dropped to the point now where the value is the other way. Over 150, 1.5, 152 is what we're seeing right now with that total. So, yeah, I don't know in terms of Q&A, like we rifled through pretty much most of the added board right there for the added board games. But if anyone, what else do we not mention at all just now? Alabama A&M Bethune-Cookman. Pass for me. I mean, the under definitely makes some sense, but it's been a heavy move toward the under 142.5 down to 138. So I'd probably leave that alone right now. That's pretty much it. That was the only game we didn't mention at all just now on the ad board. So we pretty much taken care of Q&A right there. And a reminder before we get to Coppin State game postpones.
Jefferson C. I still have it up.
Yeah. Let me just. I'm sure you're right. I mean, Jefferson C has been in our chat a lot, so wouldn't surprise me if that is a correct statement. But yeah, I know the women's game the other day was postponed for Coppin State. We'll see. But we'll see if that is indeed the. I don't see it postponed yet on the screen, but hold your horses on that. We'll look and see if Coppin State, Delaware State ends up being played tonight. But make sure you check on that before you bet the game. Also, another thing you want to check on: flight arrangements, accommodations for Pubapalooza II. How about that for a segue? Coming up in a couple months, March 24th to 26th, San Antonio, of course. Looking forward to that and all the great events that will be taking place that weekend. Should be a lot of fun as per usual, like last year, which was an absolute blast. The original Pubapalooza Par 3 golf tournament, poker tournament, Retama horse track, UFC San Antonio is obviously one of the main event, the highlight billing, if you will, of Pubapalooza 2. So make sure you get involved with that. And there it is. There's the calendar of events right there on your screen for Pubapalooza 2, March 24th to 26th. And we're looking forward to seeing you there. And here's a little sample of what you might expect.
Pubapalooza 2 on the horizon. We're going to have live shows popping off in the Southtown 101. We're going to have a poker tournament, a par 3 golf tournament, UFC San Antonio on the Saturday night. A lot of excitement. Pubapalooza 2, baby!
There it is, and it's now officially a little less than 2 months away. So get ready for Pubapalooza 2 in San Antonio. And get ready to hit the like button, too. 170 live viewers. Hit that like button. We appreciate it very much. Conor and I will be back with Best Bets right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Southtown 101, and manscaped.com. Promo code PubSports, 20% off and free shipping with promo code PubSports. All right, it is Best Bets to wrap the show up for a Monday of college basketball net profit. Conor, Mac, we'll start with you. What do you like for Best Bet?
I was going to go side, but I'll go total. These teams, I think, gets over this number. It's a light. So over 152, South Dakota, Oral, Bob.
There we go. I like it. Oral Bob, as I often say. Yeah, South Dakota, Oral Roberts, Oral Bob, over 152 there for Conor Mack with his best bet. Mine's going to be a total as well. Back to that Virginia-Syracuse game. Virginia-Syracuse over 132.5. Why not? Syracuse an over machine. And actually, you don't look now, Virginia, more of their recent games have gone over. 5 straight overs in the head-to-head matchup between the Cavaliers and the Orange. And all of them have gotten into the high 130s minimum, and many of them into the 140s. So the total's just too light in this one, in my opinion. Virginia, Syracuse over 132.5 for my best bet for this Monday card. There we go. That's a wrap. Thanks.
You want to touch on these real quick, Maryland, real quick?
Oh, I got Morgan State in that game, plus 1.5
Yeah.
Against Maryland, and the over against Maryland Eastern Shore. So there you
And
go.
someone mentioned the Howard, Babano mentioned either, Howard overs over the last few years are the way to go. This line's come down 3 points. That's what we talked about a few minutes ago. Just
I like
wanted
the
to
over
get it
now.
up.
I thought 155 touch high, 152. Now it's getting some value over the total now. 3 points to the better of it. So I like the over more now with South Carolina State Howard at 152.
Nuke, go to pubsportsradio.com.
Yep.
Get our Pub Sports Radio shirts. My favorite, the black one with
Yep.
our logo, best logo in the game with our beer up there. Or there's always ones, even if you're on YouTube underneath. I mean, I don't know if we still have that. Do we have that? Is Jose back there?
Yeah.
Jose?
Yes, we do.
There we go.
There we go.
You can order it from there as well. Appreciate it, my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports
There we
Radio,
go.
baby.
Absolutely. Get the merch. I'm going to start getting some merch for the summer coming too, especially. Yeah, got to get some. Definitely pubsportsradio.com. Great stuff. No, we'll save it for tomorrow there, Gaucho, Kansas and Kansas State. We'll save it for Tuesday's show. Our thoughts on that one. Yeah, Kansas and Kansas State. The rematch, of course, they were involved in a classic at the Little Apple just a couple weeks ago. What an epic game that was. And the rematch will be at Fog Allen tomorrow night. Will Kansas get payback? We'll have to wait and see on that. They had a nice win against Kentucky on Saturday in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. So great matchup. One of many on Tuesday. So join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, and we'll break down the Tuesday college basketball card on yet another edition of the Net Profit Show. For Conor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you tomorrow, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, for another edition of the College Basketball Net Profit Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.